Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes and the second movie in this prequel reboot series of Planet of the Apes films. Now, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was definitely a movie I was super excited for going into 2014 because I was a huge fan of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I was really excited to see where this story would continue to grow with Caesar and with the apes. But of course, there's always that fear with every sequel, like, is it gonna be as good as the predecessor? Especially when the predecessor was really awesome on its own. Luckily for us though, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes did what sequels are supposed to do, but very rarely do. It stepped it up in every sense of the word. It was one of the best sequels we've ever gotten, in the sense that it really is just that much better than a movie that came up before it that's also really awesome. So the movie takes place around 10 years after the virus from Rise of the Planet of the Apes have spread around the world. That was the virus that of course made apes smarter, but at the same time, it killed a very large amount of Earth's human population. Now we get into Caesar and the apes, and I just love seeing what they have made their civilization to be in this movie. It's just great seeing how far they've come along. I mean, they work well together, they thrive in this forest, they all function as this really great tribe, they have their own rules, they have these schools to teach the young apes. Caesar, once again, is just fucking awesome. I mean, 10 years have gone by, so you know, in addition to being the great leader that he already was, he's just that much better because, you know, he's older, he's wiser, he's, you know, more experienced in what he's been doing. He just knows what it takes to be a great leader, and it's amazing seeing the command and the authority and the respect that he has among all the apes. There are a few moments throughout the movie, like the apes could be bickering among each other or arguing about something, and Caesar could say one thing or make a sound or even just raise his hand like this, and the apes will immediately be just silent. That right there is the sign of a well-respected leader. But yeah, it has been quite some time since apes have seen any sign of humans. Caesar and Maurice, you know, the orangutan from the last movie, they're under the assumption that humans have just wiped each other out. Until one day, Caesar's son Blue Eyes and another young ape named Ash, they come across this human named Carver. Carver, of course, gets a little spooked seeing them, so he shoots Ash, which causes all the other apes to come down to see what happened. Carver's party, that's led by Jason Clarke, they come to see what happened. And this moment right here just completely blows the humans' minds because, you know, they see all these apes, you know, really staring them down in like this military formation. You know, Jason Clarke tries to say to them, it's like, we don't mean you any harm. And Carver's like, they're just apes, man. You really think they're gonna understand you? And Jason Clarke's like, dude, do they look like just fucking apes to you? And, you know, then it's quiet for a while, but then Caesar just yells to the humans like, go! And that scene right there, you know, just scares the shit out of the humans, but it kind of scares the shit out of you as well, because even though you heard Caesar talk for the first time in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, hearing him talk for the first time in this movie, it gives you kind of that same feeling because it's just insane to hear that Caesar can talk. But now that the apes know that the humans are still here and they're still kicking, now there's a big debate to what they do. On one side, you have Koba, who is, you know, the scarred, experimented on ape from the first movie. He has a big hatred for humans, and he's like, we should just go, we should attack them, we should wipe them out before they come here and they try to kill us. And, you know, Caesar's trying to tell him and tell the other apes, it's like, if we go to war, we could lose everything we have built. So ultimately, Caesar decides that it's best that he and a group of the apes, they go down to the human village and they tell them, it's like, hey, we don't want a war, stay here, do not come back to our territory. This, however, is a bit of a problem for the humans because Gary Oldman, who's basically the leader of this surviving clan of humans, has sent Jason Clarke and his group to their area because that's where a dam is, and if they can figure out how to get that dam working, they can get power back, the humans can start rebuilding their society. So now, once again, on this side of the coin, Gary Oldman's like, let's just go up there, we'll kill every single one of those apes, we'll get this taken care of. And Jason Clarke is like, I don't think we need to go to violence. Let me go up there with my group once again. I'll go and see if I can speak to Caesar, explain to him the situation, and maybe, just maybe, they'll let us do our work, and then we can all go our separate ways. So Jason Clarke, he goes into the apes' territory once again, he explains to Caesar, it's like, listen, we don't mean any harm with you, I swear it. There's this dam, we just want to do our work there, it'll help our people, please just let us do that. And Caesar, through hearing his story and seeing what he means, he decides, alright, I'll allow it. And from this point forward, you do continue to see what makes Koba a really great character for this movie, in the fact that he's just an ape that will not trust humans for any reason whatsoever. He's so trying to profess to Caesar, it's like, if we give the humans this chance to rebuild that dam or whatever it is they need to do, they'll get stronger, they'll come back here, they'll kill every single one of us. And then Caesar tells him, it's like, they're desperate. If we send them back, they could come up here and try to fight us. And Koba keeps making the point. It's like, we had the advantage. We're stronger. And Caesar's just like, how many apes will die? This might be our one chance for peace. I'm not letting that slip away. And part of it is like, you do see where Koba is coming from because, you know, his whole life, he was experimented on. He was tortured. He has all these scars from the human work that was done to him. But Caesar tries to profess with the other apes that Koba's trying to influence. He's like, Koba only saw humans' bad side. I was around humans for a very long time. James Franco raised me growing up. I know there's good in humans too. They're not all bad. So now later on, Jason Clarke and his team, they've been able to rebuild the dam, so now their city can get power. They've also been able to help Caesar's sick mate because Jason Clarke's wife is a medical officer. She knew how to help her. So it's at this point, Caesar and Jason Clarke, they've agreed, you know what? We're on good terms. Let's trust one another here. But again, Koba just so adamantly has the beliefs that he has that he's not going to step down from. He now feels he needs to take matter into his own hands. And this is where he officially crosses a line. Koba has been able to take a gun from the human city. And it's one night. He sees Caesar just standing in this tree. And he aims the gun at Caesar. He shoots him. And Caesar falls, and you assume dead. Koba has then proceeded to light the ape's home on fire, so now he comes out, he's all like, humans killed Caesar with this gun! They set our home on fire! We have to go to the city! We have to fight the humans! Let's fight for Caesar! Come on! The point that really hits with me is when he takes Blue Eyes, and he tells him, it's like, we will avenge your father's death. You know, puts a gun in his hand, and tells him, it's like, come fight with me on this cause. Let's go do what's right. You know, it's scary enough that he's really started to influence the apes to think like he thinks, but it's the fact that he's trying to do that with Caesar's son. That's where you feel like Koba's really trying to stop at nothing to do what he feels is necessary. Not just in establishing dominance over the humans, but establishing dominance over the apes. There's one moment he's, you know, taking over the city after that really awesome action scene we got when they just stormed in and took over the place. Seriously, yeah, getting to that scene for a minute. Just amazing seeing the apes on horses just bust through with machine guns, just taking out the people. You know, people are trying to use tanks and weapons against them, and, you know, the apes are just taking those from them, using them against the humans. It's pretty intense stuff. I apologize. That is my ADD getting the best of me. Let me go back to the moment that I was originally talking about. When they're in the city and the apes are establishing their control, at one point, Koba looks to Ash, you know, the ape that was with Blue Eyes earlier. He tells him, like, kill this human. And Ash is like, this isn't what Caesar would want. So Koba decides to take Ash, go up to this balcony, throw him off of this balcony, and kill him. And then he turns to the apes. It's like, Caesar's gone. You all follow me now. It's like, holy shit, Koba is out of his fucking mind. We soon discover, though, that Caesar did not, in fact, die from the gunshot. Jason Clarke and the other humans, they found him. They're now tending to him. Jason Clarke has even been able to find Blue Eyes, brings him back to Caesar, where Caesar explains to him what really happened to him. And it's at this point, Caesar starts explaining to Blue Eyes, he's like, I was wrong. I thought because we're apes and we act like a family that we're just automatically better than people. I really do see now just how much like them we are. You know, he alludes to the fact that, you know, after the 4 years of fighting the virus, the humans were at war with each other for 4 years, and that's another reason why the human population is so low. You could argue that the humans did, in fact, destroy each other from within. But then in the case with Koba, because he had the beliefs that he had, and because he knew Caesar would not act in that way, he decided to shoot Caesar, which was the start of basically destroying and corrupting the apes from within. So now Caesar knows that he's got to get back to that city. He has to confront Koba. He knows right now he's not strong enough to, and if he's not strong enough to, then he can't turn the apes from Koba. So now after Caesar has been able to recover, Blue Eyes goes and he frees the imprisoned apes that Koba had imprisoned because he felt they were too loyal to Caesar, such as Maurice and Rocket. So now that Caesar has his really loyal followers back, he's ready to go confront Koba. And it's really cool seeing Caesar and Koba like really in their face with each other at this point. Not even before they start fighting, just hearing them exchange words with each other. Koba tries to say, it's like, you have no place here, they follow me now, and Caesar's like, they'll follow you to a war, and Koba's like, we will win the war. And it's after that goes on for a little while, Koba's like, alright, you know what, get your gloves up, we're fighting, and he and Caesar just go toe-to-toe with each other. And obviously it's cool seeing the way they fight with each other just because of the physical, you know, gifts that they have, you know, just being apes, but also hearing them communicate with each other as they fight, and just how driven they are to try to defeat one another because they each know that the ape that's in front of them is what's standing in their way of doing what they feel is right. What also makes this final showdown intense is what's going on with the humans. Jason Clarke has reunited with Gary Oldman. He reveals that he and a few of his men have planted these explosions under this tower where the apes are. It's like, we're gonna kaboom it, and all the apes are gonna die, everything will be over. But then Jason Clarke, he pulls a gun on Gary Oldman, and he's like, I can't let you do that. Caesar is here. He is their true leader. He's up there right now. He will take care of this. He'll get all the apes back under his control. Everything will be fine. And Gary Oldman's just like, are you out of your fucking mind? They're animals. They're not going to do anything. We have to stand our ground right here. We have to save the human race. And because of his beliefs, he decides to detonate the bomb, sacrifices himself, which results in a lot of apes dying. And a lot of people might give Gary Oldman a lot of shit for doing what he did, but I mean, when you really think about it, you know, you see what the apes have done. They're really smart animals. They took over this city. Gary Oldman has now seen what they're truly capable of. They can take over this planet and, you know, do whatever they want to the humans. Gary Oldman's thinking, even if there is a chance that this ape can get them all back under control, I'm not risking it. So the fight between Koba and Caesar ends. Koba's hanging on this ledge for dear life. If he lets go, he's gonna die. And Caesar's just standing above him, but Koba looks at him and he like says the rule. It's like, ape not kill ape. And Caesar does hear that. He goes to help him up, but then he looks around at the city. He looks around at the apes that are wounded, the apes that have been, you know, traumatized by what Koba did. And then Caesar just looks down at Koba and he says, you are not ape. And then he just drops him, lets him fall to his death. It was just a really satisfying moment to see with Caesar in the fact that he was so adamantly against killing another ape for so long. But in this case, he's like, no, you know what? The rules don't apply to you, man. You need to die. So now Caesar has reestablished his control over the apes. Jason Clarke comes to meet with Caesar, though, because he tells him, it's like, look, I've discovered the military are on their way. You gotta get your apes out of here or there's gonna be a war. And Caesar tells him, it's like, war has already begun. He tells Jason Clarke, he's like, what the humans have discovered that we're truly capable of doing, and with Koba making the apes do what they had to do when he was in charge of them, the humans are not just going to forgive that. A war is inevitable. And that right there is where the movie ends, and where I'm guessing around the time where War for the Planet of the Apes is gonna kick off. So all in all, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is such an incredible movie. I really love the characters in this movie. Once again, Caesar is just awesome. This version of Caesar that we've been getting in these prequel Planet of the Apes movies, probably one of the best movie characters I've ever seen. Andy Serkis once again just knocks it out of the park as Caesar. I seriously thought he should have been in the running for an Oscar that year. He wasn't because the Academy sucks, but he still kicked ass as Caesar. Koba was such a great villain for this movie. I really love seeing that he so adamantly has this belief and this hatred towards humans that he just was not going to back down from, and he was going to stop at nothing to do what he felt was necessary. The human characters in this movie were all great. I loved Gary Oldman in this movie. I love Jason Clarke in this movie. Seeing how far the apes have come along since the last movie is really amazing to see. The movie has great action. Once again, it's intense, heavy action that does show you why the apes are gonna be a problem for the humans when that war comes. I love how this movie wasn't so black and white, how it's like, oh, humans are terrible and apes are good. No, it does show the gray areas in the fact that, you know, some apes can be corrupted and can be horrible, but there's also good in humans. They're not all bad. They're not all corruptible. They're not all abusive. I really love that the movie made that one of its focal points. It really brought the movie up some levels for me. The visual effects in this movie, holy shit. The visual effects in Rise of the Planet of the Apes were really good. These ones just look so much better. I mean, it's 3 years later, and you know technology advances a lot in 3 years, but you really see it here. There are quite a few moments where you just see the apes for what they are, and I just look at it and I'm just like, these apes honestly look real to me. Movie had some very powerful, emotional moments too. Like, you know, that one scene where Gary Oldman's, you know, seeing pictures of his family for the first time and he starts crying. Or that moment where Caesar's looking back on that videotape when he was a baby and James Franco was teaching him sign language. language. It was just a couple moments that really hit me in the feels when I saw it for the first time. I was not expecting this movie to choke me up the way it did, but it certainly did that. And in the end, this was one of my favorite movies of 2014. It was probably my second favorite movie of 2014, only behind Whiplash. And it is just one of those sequels that every Hollywood filmmaker out there should take notes on if they want to know how you make a great sequel. So there it is. I've talked about Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I've talked about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Now we are on to War for the Planet of the Apes. I'm very, very excited to be seeing this movie. I'm gonna see this movie tomorrow night. Well, actually probably tonight by the time I get this video uploaded. This movie has been getting acclaim from everyone who's seen it, so I am so stoked to be seeing it for myself and getting my own thoughts on it. But for now, that's all I gotta say. So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.